So, good morning, everyone. Today I just want to give some quick introduction, like what
Yeah,
we are
good
going
morning,
to.
sir.
And sorry,
Yeah, good morning, sir.
hey, good morning. Yeah. We are going to see like what is our course, like what are the services we are going to learn before stepping into DevOps, and what are the other services that are not part of AWS, and how that is useful for us in our resume or like in our career, like how that is useful. Let us try to discuss on this. Okay. So I hope we have some mixed people. Like I think some people are from development side, some people are from operations side, some people might be some storage testing side, if I'm not wrong, and some people are completely new to this particular course, right? First time they might have heard about AWS or working on AWS and all, if I'm not wrong, or everybody has some exposure on AWS. So why I'm asking this is because it depends like where we are right now, so that we can start from there or we can start from scratch. Okay. Even if one person is doesn't know about anything about DevOps and AWS and all, right? So I have to start from scratch. So scratch in the sense even from the Linux operating system, right? Because I will be so simple. Let's say like if you want to run some application anywhere you take, whether it is cloud or on premises, in your own data center or somewhere, we have to know about some operating system, because without learning the operating system you cannot know, or you will not know how to handle an application on that operating system, like installation, uninstallation, or modifications, or customizing, or if you want to troubleshoot. All these things you will come to know only when you have some exposure to your operating system, right? So uh, so obviously, if one person is in my particular course, right? If one person is doesn't know about operating system, I have to start from there. That's how I do. Okay, that's what I practice always. Okay, so I will start from
Uh,
scratch.
I'm new to this. I don't have any idea for that. I'm Rupesh.
Yes, yeah. So
Yeah,
obviously,
I'm
see,
also new.
yeah. So most of the cases, right? So let's say, okay, fine, I understand. So here I could see like most of the people are from the background where they might have been working only on the front end. They never had some exposure to the operating system, like logging into that and doing some actions and all. They don't have some exposure. So let us start from there. Because if I directly say like this is AWS, you have to do like this and all, no one can understand, right? The main goal, if you want to survive for a longer period in any industry, not only IIT industry or anything, first you have to know the basics. Whatever it is, wherever you compare with it, you have to know the basics. Even though if you are learning AWS cloud, there has to be something, right, which is there in the open source, or there should be some underlying concept which is already available, and where your AWS is adopting it and they are modifying it according to the customer's requirement and their functionalities. So I strongly believe to understand the basics. So that's where we start with. After completing our Linux operating system installation, like what is operating system, how, what is kernel, what is file system, how to do a partition in Linux operating system, how to install the packages, how to do the network troubleshooting, like network troubleshooting tools, how will you install packages, configuration, modifications, all these things you have to understand. Once you understand this, we will be stepping into basic shell scripting. It's not a pure programming language. It's more of like what are the commands you execute, right, on the Linux operating system. Okay. And we have to automate that in the sense, every time I cannot sit in front of the system, or every time I cannot sit in front of my terminal and I keep on executing all the commands one by one, right? I have to put it somewhere, and that particular script has to execute automatically what are the commands I have written inside. How is that possible? Only when you write some shell script in Linux operating system. So we will try to learn what is Linux shell scripting, what kind of shells we have. In that, why we are choosing Bash shell. Okay, so why it is so important to learn our Bash shell scripting. Okay, it doesn't have any oops concepts. Just we have to understand what are the syntaxes we need to write. General what commands you execute, right? That you will put it in the file, and that particular file is called a shell script. Simple. Right now for a basics to understand by everyone, it is that basic it is. Okay. So what are the command you execute on the terminal in the sense, what, let's say for example in Windows, you might have already seen the command prompt, right? Generally we see this command prompt. What we do, we generally execute some commands, right? Let's say ipconfig. Okay. something. If I want to see the IP addresses of my Windows operating system, I execute these commands, right? So all the time we don't use a GUI, especially in production servers, except Windows. In Linux operating system, we don't see any GUI. We have to execute some commands. So let us start our career from there. Okay, so let us start understanding this particular course from the server side itself. Okay, like executing the commands, what command we have to learn, all these things we have to understand. Once these two things are done, right, understanding the Linux operating system, so your question might be where we will practice this Linux operating system. It is in your laptop. Okay, you will be I will show you how to install a Oracle VirtualBox, and how to create a virtual machine, and how to install Linux operating system, and then how to communicate to it to do the necessary things. No need to disturb your base operating system. If you are already using some laptop with or a PC with Windows operating system, you no need to disturb that base operating system. So without disturbing that only, you can continue with your whatever the practice you want to do. Okay, so it doesn't need much huge resources. 8 GB RAM and 2 core CPU, that is enough for us to practice. Okay, that's why we will start practicing it. Okay, whatever the packages we try to install, what are the tools we try to learn apart from AWS, we will be doing it from the virtual machine itself in our local machine. Okay, after learning this Linux operating system and then the shell scripting, then we have to enter into our AWS administrative tools. Directly we cannot learn AWS DevOps. Why? Because if you don't know how to handle the services in AWS, you never know what to do in DevOps, right? So once you learn DevOps, only when you learn some strong understanding of your administrative services. It is not the basic understanding. You have to have some strong understanding on basic this AWS administrative services. Okay, so that's where we will be starting with. First, we will be learning with AWS administrative services, and I will tell you what are those services and all. Before that, first of all, let us understand what is DevOps culture. Okay, so what is DevOps? Why we have to go for DevOps? Okay, so why it is so important right now for everyone to move our career from normal administrators, a normal test engineers, or manual or automation, whatever it is, and network engineers. Now they are trying to move their career from that particular position to a DevOps culture. Okay, so DevOps in the sense it's not a tool, it's a collaboration actually. It's a platform where it collaborates, like it where it involves all the developers and operations team together with the common tools. That's how the DevOps came into picture. It's not a tool name, it's just a culture name. That's it. DevOps is a culture which will be adopted by all the corporate companies, okay, which are working on some particular projects, and they will try to involve the developers and operations team together. Or you have to be a developer and operations engineer, both as well, sometimes. Okay, it's not that developers will do only the developers job and operations team will do only the operations related things. It's not like that actually. If you look at your real-time world in the sense the way actual process goes on in the companies is like a person who knows DevOps is a DevOps engineer. That's it. Okay, we don't have any segregation like developers and operations team like that. Okay, so what is important for us to learn in DevOps culture? First of all, you have to know what is a project we are working on. Okay, so we have to understand the what is our role and responsibility. That is the first thing. Okay, what is my role, what I have to do, what contribution I have to do to the project, and what is my responsibility is like what tools I have to bring in. Okay, I have to do some POCs, I have to tell that this is what we have to do, this is not possible in this particular scenario. So we have to come up with some solutions. Okay, that will be the roles and responsibilities of a DevOps engineer first of all. Okay, and then working agreement, it is not done by us. Okay, it's like how many people we have to have, what is a scrum team. Okay, in each and every team how many people will be there, that we will learn one by one, like what is agile model, what is workflow model. Okay, so what is scrum model. Okay, so what is scrum team, scrum master. Okay, what is this technical terms called when you are working on some particular uh, project, right, or in a company. Okay, and the plan and implementation. So first of all, you have to plan before going into the actual work. You have to first plan about your project, what you're working with, what tools we have to use, what is a services we have in AWS. Okay, all these things comes under plan and implementation. So how we have to implement this particular plan, okay, and execution. Plan, implement, and execution. This is how the three words will come into picture when you're working with. Okay, and the tools to integrate. If you have AWS services that we have to use, or else we have to use some external tools in order to integrate with our existing AWS services and try to automate everything. Okay, or else we will be using AWS services itself to automate the process. Okay, so in the DevOps culture, after understanding the DevOps culture, right, here I have told you only the basic points, but when we step into our actual DevOps services, then I will tell you what is DevOps in detail. Okay, so how it came into picture. Okay, what are the tools we have, open source tools we have. Okay, so how they have brought this particular DevOps culture, and what are the services, how they are divided, what is automation tool, what is configuration management tool, what is version control system, okay, monitoring, okay, servers, containers, all these things we'll understand one by one. Okay, so right now if I say about that, right, everybody will not understand what is we are trying to learn. So let us stick to the points. What is our course is all about, what are the things we are going to learn, and how it will help you to your resume. Okay, so these are the points which we are going to discuss today. So coming to the next one, what are the services? Okay, you told that before going to the DevOps, we have to learn the administrative services. So what are the administrative services that you will be putting on the table, okay, on for the AWS? So the first and foremost thing is you have to understand what is AWS console, how to handle your AWS console. Console in the sense, let me show you in one way. It is, let's say, you will search in browser like AWS console. Here you will log into this. I will log in with my credentials. Later on, I will show you how to create it. Okay. First of all, everybody has to understand what is console. I'm giving my credentials. So now you logged into this particular console right now. So this is called as AWS console. Whatever you want to create in AWS, okay, so you have to log into this particular page, which is called as console. From here, you will search for a service. Let's say I want to look for IAM service, EC2, S3 bucket, RDS, Lambda service, monitoring like CloudWatch, CloudTrail, DevOps services. All these things you will be managing from here. So this is called as console. So you need to know how to create an account. Okay, so how to log into this. Okay, not only from CLI, not only from the dashboard, you have to ensure that CLI, through CLI commands also you should able to communicate to this AWS, your AWS account. So every time I cannot use this particular dashboard, right? When you're working with CI/CD operations, let's say DevOps pipelines, when you're writing, right? I cannot use this particular dashboard. It will work with only CLI commands. Then how will you come to know what is the CLI commands I have to use when I'm working with AWS? So you have to know the CLI commands as well, right? How to handle your AWS services from the CLI as well. That is also we have to learn. And there is one more way to handle the services, nothing but Cloud Shell. One is your AWS CLI. From wherever you want, you can install it in your Windows laptop or in your virtual machine of Linux. Wherever you want, you can install. Okay. From there, you can install AWS CLI and you can start communicating to your AWS dashboard from here, from the CLI itself. One is your dashboard, which is a GUI. Another one is Cloud Shell. Okay. So this is another way to access your services. Okay. So we will try to understand what are those, how to handle it, all these things we'll understand there. Okay, so that is the first thing we have to understand about AWS. Without learning that, like, you cannot understand what we are trying to do. Okay, and then IAM. IAM means identity and access management. Let's say, for example, your Facebook, your Gmail, and your Yahoo accounts and all, right? First, what you will do, you will open the URL, and then you will enter your username password after creating the account. Okay, after creating an account, what you will do on a daily basis, you will use username password and it will do some verification in the backend, and then it will allow you to log into the dashboard like Facebook dashboard or whatever it is. Now what is happening in the backend, it is verifying your identity and access. It's nothing but authentication and authorization. The technical terms for that is nothing but authentication and authorization. What is authentication? Simple. You created an account in a Facebook. Tomorrow when you log in with the same username password, it has to verify whether the username password is correct or not. If you give a wrong password, it will tell you login password is incorrect or something like that. You'll get a pop-up, right? So how this is verification is happening in the backend? Because Facebook or some particular application is using the backend mechanism to verify your username password. That is called as authentication. Okay. And then what is authorization? Once you log into that particular dashboard or any particular service, you have to ensure that you have access to all the services. What are the access was given to you means what actions you can give, you have to do only that particular actions. Okay, so where we will decide that, that will be decided under authorization. Okay, so if you try to put the same example in AWS, that particular service name is called as IAM, identity and access management, because I'm using AWS console, right? Tomorrow I want to, I'm the team manager, let's say. Now I have a DevOps team, I have some developers team, separate developers team, and I have some testing team and all. For that particular users, I want to create an account. Okay, as a manager, I have to create an account for all those users so that they can log into that particular dashboard and they can create a resources. Okay, so how will you do that? Only when you create a user, right? Okay, so these actions you will do, creating users, providing the permissions to that users, all you will do it from IAM, identity and access management, which is so important for everyone to understand, because that is the main thing, right? Okay, if you do it, if you don't do it properly, the entire AWS is like is accessible for everyone, so they can do whatever they want. So we have to learn what actions we have to give, what actions we should not give. Okay, what is users, what is groups? Okay, so and what is policy, what are roles? Okay, what is STS? Okay, and then we will understand what is the cross account access. All these things we'll understand in IAM. Okay, just remember the words what I'm trying to say. These are the some technical words. When you understand, when you come into that particular topic, right, you will understand much better. Okay, for a person who wants to understand what we are trying to learn, I'm saying this. Okay, so what we are trying to learn in that particular service. Okay, after IAM we have to understand the next service is nothing but instances, EC2. Okay, instances we have so many types: on demand, reserved, spotted, dedicated, and then dedicated instance, and we have bare metal servers which we can launch as well. Okay, so first of all we need to understand what is virtual machine. Okay, till now we know that a bare metal servers, physical servers and all. What is virtual machine we have to understand, right? So then only you will understand what is EC2 instance. Okay, so in that EC2 instance only I will teach about what is elastic IP. I will be teaching about security groups, and then AMIs. Okay, there are so many things which we'll be learning in EC2. Okay, so I can make it as EC2 instance actually. Okay, next VPC. So VPC in the sense networking. If you want to create some network on the cloud, AWS cloud, okay, so we have to use VPC service. Okay, what is cloud exactly? Like, does anyone have some idea what is cloud? Cloud computing. Now I'm saying like these are the services, right? So how you are able to access this particular service? What is cloud computing? You might have already done some research or something, right, before coming to this course. What is cloud computing?
Accessing the things from the internet.
What are those things?
Those things,
Let's say your
like
resources.
Gmail. Yeah.
Compute resources, right?
Yes,
Providing
Yeah,
the
computer.
compute resources over the internet is
tokens.
called as cloud computing. Simple statement. It is not too
Right.
complex or a paragraph. Simple statement, one line. Providing the compute resources or the IT resources over the internet is called as cloud computing. Okay. Now AWS, Azure, Google Cloud, Alibaba Cloud, Oracle Cloud, IBM Cloud, these are like providers, which means that they have created a resource for you and you are paying for what you are using it, right? So you're see, if I want to build a virtual machine and infrastructure like that, a data center, imagine how much crores of effort I have to put. Land, infrastructure, AC, power supply, people to manage that, continuous 24/7 access. I have to maintain these many things, right? So it is not possible for me, for a small scale person or a medium scale industry persons, right? A client doesn't want this much of infrastructure to maintain for a small application to run. Let's say I want to start some my own business, some hotel or restaurant or whatever it is. I want to start. So I want to design some application and I want to run that particular application somewhere. So do I really need to go for infrastructure, power supply, this internet connectivity 24/7, all these things? Do I need to afford for that? No, it is a huge cost for me, right? Running for a single website, do I need to afford these many things? No. I need someone who is providing the platform where I can host my website and I can run my application. So these are the cloud providers who are doing it for us. Okay, they are providing different platforms for us: infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service. These are the three main categories, but I will explain you when we start about the course. But here if I start now, right, it will be too clumsy. Okay, so that's the reason why I'm not telling about what is platform as a service, infrastructure as a service, and software as a service, what type of clouds we have: private cloud, public cloud, and hybrid cloud. Okay, so let's not put that into this right now. Okay, now so that is how the cloud computing. So your AWS is one of them who is providing a resources over the internet. See, if I have a laptop or a PC or a mobile or a tab, I can just have internet connectivity and I can open the AWS dashboard. I can create an account, I can log into it, I can create a virtual machine, and I can run my application. I no need to bother about the physical infrastructure. That is not my responsibility. AWS is taking care of it. We are paying only for the resource what we are using it. It doesn't mean that if I log into this particular dashboard, it doesn't mean that they will charge for all the services. For whatever the services I'm using, they will charge only for that. So you're paying amount only for what you're using and how much time you have used it. Based on that only the billing will be generated. Okay, so that is a clear point. Sorry,
Pay as you go method.
is someone speaking? Neela,
Pay as you go
please go
method.
on mute if you are not speaking with me. Thank you. Yeah. So the next service is, so to run that particular applications, right, we need to learn about instances, EC2 instances and all. Any application, database, web applications, like Tomcat, Nginx, Apache, databases like MySQL, MariaDB, PostgreSQL, or any other middleware applications. I want to run it somewhere on the servers. So we will understand what is virtual machine, what is bare metal server, physical servers, and then we will come to EC2 instance. Okay, and then networking, which I've told you, VPC. So what is this VPC? Is nothing but, let's say at your home you're sitting right now, right? Everybody is connecting their particular mobiles at your home because you have your family members, right? Everybody is connecting your mobiles to your router, if I'm not wrong. Okay, and from the internet service provider you will get an internet connectivity. Let's say there will be a cable, physical cable, which will be attached to your router, and from the router you are connecting all the devices. Let's say printer, mobiles, PCs, TVs right now, all the things, right? How you are able to get an internet connectivity for all these devices? You paid only for one IP address actually. If you look at the background of it, you are paying the amount, let's say 500 rupees or 600 rupees or 1000 rupees, only for the single IP address what you're purchasing from them, and the speed what they are providing it for you. Let's say 100 mbps or 200 mbps speed for data download and upload, right? So you're paying for one IP address. You can connect only one system, right? As per our basic knowledge, only one particular system can be connected to with one IP. Then how we are able to connect these many devices? Any guess how this was happening? So daily we are using. I took an example from the daily usage only. It's not too complex. Okay, simple. Daily we are using our router, right? You are connecting to your router, your mobile devices. You will on the Wi-Fi on your laptop or a mobiles and all, right? You are getting some IP address, and your internet service provider has given only one IP address. How it is possible? Like these many IP addresses can, these many devices can be connected.
From the router level, it will create a subnet. From there, the dynamic IP allocation will be happen.
Yeah. So your single provider, let's say your internet service provider will give you a public IP address. Okay, that is IP address which can be reached from anywhere in the internet. See, what is public IP address? IP address, right now I will tell you only just orally, but keep it in the mind right now. Okay, so public IP address in the sense the IP address which will be reachable from anywhere in the globe. Anywhere in the globe, if you go anywhere where you have internet connectivity, you can reach to that particular IP address. That is called as public IP address. That will be given to your router. From the router, it will apply NAT, network address translation. I will tell you all about this. What is network address translation, where we see it. Okay, in VPC also we have this NAT, how it works. Okay, so to compare what is VPC with your real-time example, I'm just explaining this. Okay, now in the NAT, what will happen in the router? That public IP address packet will be converted into private IP address. Okay, this NATing will be done in the router. If you look at your mobile IP address or your mission IP address, virtual mission, or let's say your PC or laptop and all, these are having private IP address. Okay, so your router will give you a private IP address to the devices. Okay, and that's how it is working right now. So all the devices will get private IP address. From the internet, you will get a public IP. This translation is called as network address translation. Okay, so the NATing will be done in the what do you say, the on the router side. Okay, so if you want to do this particular thing, you cannot go to the data center, right? If I want to do it in the AWS, do I really need to travel to my data center? No, right? So I have to do it from here. How I can create a virtual switch, how I can create a switch, routers, connectivities and all for the network. I don't need to go to the data center. With the help of a software, we will do it. Okay, that service is called as VPC, Virtual Private Cloud. Okay, so with that VPC service, we will try to create routers, switches, okay, network, connectivities and all. Before that, what I have to tell you is nothing but, first of all, we need to understand what is IP address. What is IPv4? In IP address, we have two types, right? IPv4 and IPv6. So we need to understand what is IPv4. IPv6 we are not teaching right now in our course. Okay, only IPv4. IPv4. So we need to learn what is classes. We have totally 5 classes. What is class A, B, C, D, E? Okay, what is the range of each and every class? All these things we have to understand. I cannot teach blindly about a VPC without teaching about this particular basics. Okay, that's how I follow. Okay, that's the reason why the course will take 2 months to complete. Okay, excluding Saturdays and Sundays. Okay, why? Because I have to teach basics. Then only you will understand what is the service. These basics are really useful. Tomorrow, if you switch your career to Azure, or if you switch to your career to your Google Cloud, nothing will happen because you are strong in the basics. You know how it works. Okay, just you have to know how to enable that particular options. That's it. Okay, so that's the only thing what you have to take care when you're moving from one cloud to another cloud. So that's the reason why always I tell to the people, learn basics thoroughly. That is really important anywhere. It's not about only this particular IT industry. I'm talking about everything. Okay, after learning VPC, which is like networking, then we have to go to the storage. Storage in the sense simple. We have to understand what is object storage, block storage, and file system. And then we will see our AWS services like AWS S3 bucket, Elastic Block Storage, and Elastic File System. Okay, so these are the services which will correlate with object storage, block storage, and file system. Simple. Object storage in the sense your Google Drive. What you're doing in Google Drive, you'll upload your photos, personal photos, movies, or some particular documents or something, right? Why we are doing it? Because if I store in my personal laptop, if that particular laptop is crashed, I cannot access my data, which is so important for me. So I cannot put it in risk, right? I want to store it somewhere so that it is secured and it is stored in the cloud. That is nothing but object storage. Your daily usage, what you are doing, right? Your Google Drive, OneDrive, all this comes under object storage. And by right clicking on that, you can share it to some other persons, some other email addresses and all. Okay, you can download it if you want. So these operations, what you're doing is nothing but object storage. Block storage is nothing but your external hard disk. For example, I'm saying internal also, but daily pen drives, your pen drives, and your what do you say, external hard disk. All this comes under block storage. Okay, so file system is nothing but this is like we cannot use in the real time. I think no one will use in the real time, but yeah, if I have a data which has to be reflected in all the systems with the same data. Let's say in a centralized location I store some data. That data I want to give it to all the systems. Then what you will do, that particular concept is called as file system. You will make it as a shared file system, and that file system will be attached to your systems. Automatically what are the changes I do here in all the systems, it will reflect. Okay, so that is called as file system, or you can call it as file storage actually. Okay, so we have to understand this, and then you will understand what about AWS services. Okay, so like S3 bucket, elastic file system, and elastic block storage. Once these topics are done, storage, we will move into databases. What is relational database? What is non-relational databases? Okay, so does anyone know about relational and non-relational databases? Any idea?
No,
Database,
Sudhir.
I hope everybody knows. Okay, what is relational and non-relational? Any example also fine for me. Have you ever heard like
RDBMS
relational and
versus
non-relational database?
other
Sorry?
non-SQL DBs.
Yeah.
Normal RDBMS versus other database like NoSQL DB,
Yes,
DynamoDB.
exactly. Exactly. So relational database in the sense, all the data will be stored in the form of tables, and every entry will be linked to another tables actually. Okay, if you try to modify an entry here, you have to update in other tables as well. Why? Because this particular row and this entry might be linked to another table, another entry as well. So this is how the relational database works. Like primary key, foreign keys, there will be so many concepts inside. That's how the relational database came into picture. Okay, the example is MySQL, MariaDB, PostgreSQL, MS SQL, okay, Oracle SQL. These are like relational database services, RDS. Okay, for that we have a separate service in AWS, which is called as RDS only, Relational Database Service. And then we have other databases like non-relational database. When you have this kind of approach, why we need a non-relational database? Any guess? We already have a relational database which is storing our data in a proper structured format, and it is designed like that in a form of tables and structured format. Why we have to go for non-relational database? See, don't hesitate guys, everybody doesn't know, so like you can come up. I'm just asking like to know, like does anyone know about this?
To faster access, we are storing in column wise in non-relational database.
Okay, that relational database can do it,
So,
right? Why I have to especially go
yeah,
for
if you want,
non-relational database?
We can
so
store
if you want to process more
semi-structured
data,
data.
10 TB of data,
Yeah, exactly.
so
So that is the main thing,
yeah, it should.
right? In relational database we have something called engine. Okay, so that has to process the data, it has to store the data, it has to specific column, it has to do an entries and all. Whereas in a non-relational database, have some data, I'm not bothered about the structure, I want to store the data. Okay, whether it could be a documents or CSV files or some other thing, I want to store the data, that's it. Then you have to go for non-relational databases. Okay, so like that's how the relational and non-relational database comes into picture. Non-relational databases you can compare with CosmoDB. Okay, there are some other data, NoSQL. So there are some particular services which are available. Okay, so that services we will see in AWS, like what comes under non-relational databases. Okay, we'll see what are the services, which services and all. Okay,
Hi
then
Sudhir.
yep.
There is a row store and column store in that both relational and non-relational database. So relational database, it will they will process both row storage and column storage, and that will take more time for
Yeah,
writing
obviously.
purpose and reading purpose. So
Yeah.
that's why non-relation table they will go for the column wise. That column
Yes.
wise it will very easy to process fast. That's why people are using that nowadays non-relational database.
Exactly. But in non-relational database, we don't bother about the number of rows, columns, where it has to place and all. Data has to be stored, that's it. With a key and value. That's it. If you have that
Yeah, that
particular approach, directly you can go
yeah
with
that
non-relational
on
database.
yeah that only the difference is that fast reading and writing, that is that
Exactly,
for the column base.
exactly. Because of this, one thing could happen. There could be some duplicate entries. Okay,
Yeah,
yeah, that cannot be controlled in non-relational database. In relational database, we can control that duplicate entries and all because we have something called primary key. Okay,
yeah, okay.
that's okay. We'll discuss more in that in the actual sessions. But right now, for people to understand that we have two types of databases, I just came up with that. Yeah. Let's go to the load balancer. So load balancer in the sense, for example, let's say daily you are watching Hotstars and all, right? Netflix, Hotstars and all. Can you imagine like how many people are watching it on a rough when there is some IPL matches which is going on? Billions, millions of people are watching, right? Okay.
Exactly.
How it is able to
Yeah.
handle these many people's request at a time? One
Because
server
of that,
cannot do it, right? One server
yeah,
cannot do it. Yeah.
they will be
No,
having many servers with load balancing if
Yes.
the
Yeah.
differently equally.
So your request will go to one particular your request will reach to one particular destination, and that destination will do a load balancing to all the servers in the backend, and it will respond because one server cannot handle it. Let's say if I ask you to do all the works at a time, you cannot do it, right? As a human being, you cannot do it. But when I have some multiple people who I distribute the work, then the work will be much faster and productivity, right? You will deliver the product much faster. Instead of if I say if I recruited only one people as a DevOps engineer, and if I ask him to handle 2 to 3 projects, is it possible? No. I have to hire more people, right, to distribute the work. So when you add more people, the burden has been reduced by the one person who is doing it. So similarly, you can apply the same logic in the load balancer. But here we have different types of load balancer. CLB is the old one, classic load balancer that is going to be deprecated. We don't know when they will remove it from the dashboard, but it is still there. It is a combination of ALB and NLB. Okay, so now it is not that needed for us to learn only specifically on CLB, but it is. Okay, and we have other three load balancer which is called as application load balancer, network load balancer, and gateway load balancer, which is a new one. Gateway load balancer. Okay, application load balancer is a layer 7, and network load balancer is a layer 4, and GLB is a combination of layer 3 and 4. Does anyone remember in BTech like we heard something called OS and ISO models? We might have read it so many times like 7 layers: application layer, session layer, transport layer, okay, network layer, physical layer. I remember only 6 layers only, but we have totally 7 layers, right? Does anyone recall it? So that logic we have to put it here in the load balancer. So in interview, someone asks you like, what is application load balancer? We should not tell some paragraph answers. Simple. It is a layer 7 protocol. What is layer 7? It is handles HTTP and HTTPS request. And NLB is nothing but a network load balancer, which will handle layer 4 protocols. What is layer 4? Which is nothing but TCP and UDP protocols. That's it. So you have to understand about those layers, and then you will understand what is this network load balancer is all about, application load balancer is all about. And there is another load balancer which is a new one, which is so important, which is called as gateway load balancer. So we will understand all these four, but don't concentrate more on CLB because it is an older one and they are going to deprecate it. Okay, so don't put more effort on that CLB. Try to understand the new one called ALB, NLB, and GLB. Okay, application load balancer, network load balancer, and gateway load balancer. After learning these services, the most important for our career means for upgrading our career is nothing but containerization. I think people have heard about this. If you search in Google also, you have a lot of openings for the people who are expertise in containers and Kubernetes. Okay, so Docker and Kubernetes. So before starting with ECS and EKS, and there are other services as well like Elastic Container Service, Elastic Kubernetes Service, Elastic Container Registry, okay, Fargate. So there are three types of service. You can see on the bottom I specified it. Elastic Container Registry. All this comes under containers and Kubernetes. Okay, this is so important. Everyone has to concentrate, and they have to learn about this particular service, because if you learn only this also, you can crack the interview. There's huge openings for this as well. Okay, so that's the reason why I included this. You have to know how to what is containers. Okay, we already have virtual machines and physical servers, right? Then container is a next level technology actually. Okay, now everybody started adopting it. Every company is trying to migrate their applications from virtual machines to the containers. So we have to learn about it. For sure it is. We cannot skip that. Okay. Before learning about ECS, EKS and ECR, first of all, we need to learn what is Docker containers and Kubernetes. Then I will be teaching about ECS, EKS, ECR, Fargate. So these are the 4 topics which we will be discussing. Okay. And then cloud formation template. Okay, so that will take longer time, containers, Kubernetes and all, because I have to explain so many things. It's not a small syllabus. Actually, it is a separate course, to be frank actually. But still we are customizing it and we are putting in our AWS DevOps as a part of administrative and DevOps, so that people will be on up to date. Okay, so cloud formation template. So cloud formation template and Terraform, that is also so important for us. Terraform is the most important tool. It is a third party tool, it is not part of AWS, but still we have to learn. Why it is so important? Because let's say if I go to the dashboard, let's say if I try to create something, let's say for example I have to log into this particular dashboard and I need to go to this particular service. Let's say for example I'm saying, and I have to click on this particular thing and I have to go to launch instance and I have to follow these 7 steps to create a virtual machine. Okay, I cannot do that all the time, right? I cannot remember all these things in real time. It is not possible for me, because there will be so many services which I will be handling for the project, right? How I can remember only a particular flow that I have to follow, or particular parameters I have to use when I'm trying to create that particular application. All these things it's not possible for me to remember. So how to overcome that? So to overcome that, to create that particular infrastructure in the AWS, we have 2 parameters here. One is cloud formation templates and one is Terraform. Terraform supports for everything. If you learn Terraform, this Terraform can be used for AWS, Azure, Google Cloud, Docker Kubernetes. There are totally 1,500 services which can handle Terraform infrastructure. So Terraform is such a beautiful tool, like which is like infrastructure as a code, IAC. Okay, you can use cloud formation template, but this cloud formation template is only for AWS. If you are trying to use Azure tomorrow, you cannot use that particular cloud formation template. Terraform is useful for both. It is for cloud formation template as well as, sorry, it is for your AWS as well as for your Azure as well. So that's the reason we have to learn Terraform. So Terraform, it will take 1 week to complete, because I have to teach from basics, what is Terraform, how to handle it. After learning some services only, we will understand what is Terraform. Okay, and then Lambda functions. Lambda function is nothing but a serverless service actually. Serverless service in the sense, if I have written some code as a developer, where you will run the code, you need to create a virtual machine, you need to install the operating system, you have to install the package of your language, Go language or Python language or .NET or Java or something, and then you have to run your code. So to run your code, you have to create these many things. Instead of that, I don't want that. I need a platform where I can execute my code. That is called as serverless. So that service is nothing but Lambda functions. Okay, so this we have to learn. And then the last service which we are going to learn in AWS is monitoring and events. Cloud formation, not cloud formation, CloudWatch and CloudTrail. So these are the 2 services which we are going to learn as a part of monitoring and events. Okay, so these are the services which we have to learn as a part of AWS. Terraform is a separate course that I will be teaching it, and then Jenkins as well. So I'll be teaching Jenkins as well. What is Jenkins? What is Jenkins pipelines? How will you write a DSL pipeline? What is a slave node in Jenkins? What is master node in a Jenkins? How to configure, how to write a pipelines, how to trigger the pipelines. All these things we will learn as a part of Jenkins as well. So Jenkins and Terraform is a third party tools which we will be using for AWS. Okay, that's one thing we have to understand. After learning this, I've written a separate slides for each and everything, but here these are the services which are related to DevOps. After learning all these services, then we will be stepping into DevOps, because without learning the services we cannot explain what is DevOps and how to use that DevOps. Okay, so first we will be understanding what are the open source tools we have in AWS DevOps, sorry, open source DevOps, and then we will be teaching about DevOps, okay, services. The first one is code commit, and then we have code build, code deploy, code pipeline, code artifacts, and etc. Okay, so these are the 6 services that you have to learn as a part of DevOps, AWS DevOps services. Okay, so this is so important. After learning that administrative, then Terraform, then Jenkins, and then we will be stepping into AWS DevOps. Okay, so this is the last services that we are going to learn as a part of the course. Linux, shell scripting, AWS administration, Terraform, and then Jenkins, and then AWS DevOps. So these are the 6 categories which you can divide. Okay, and these are the services which are part of developer tools of AWS. Okay, so after this, these are the individual slides which are talking about each and every service actually that I have already discussed orally. Okay, and code commit is nothing but GitHub repository. What is code commit in AWS DevOps? GitHub repository. Similarly, if you want to do it in AWS side, we have a service called code commit. Simple. So before that, I have to explain about what is Git, what are the Git commands, what is Git workflow, what is version control system first of all, what is the difference between centralized version control system and what is the difference between distributed version control system, what are the Git commands, Git workflow, branching strategies, release code, okay, operations like merging, revert, rebase, fetch, pull, push, okay, and then what is code commit, what are the other things we can do, all these things we have to understand. What is approval, okay, all these things we have to understand. And on the right hand side you can see the picture of it, okay, a screenshot which is talking about code commit. Okay, and then we need to understand about YAML files, how to write a YAML file. So before that you need to know what is JSON, and then you will understand what is YAML. Okay, so we will have to learn about this. Why? Because when you're writing code build, right, you have to learn about YAML file, because your code build will be written in a YAML file itself. So what is continuous? So you, before learning about code build, first of all you need to understand what is continuous integration, what are the other tools we have for continuous integration, why we have to go for code build, okay, how to write a build spec file, YAML file. Okay, so what are the entries we have to write in a YAML file? You can see the slide over here, okay, a screenshot which is talking about your build spec.yaml file, YML. Okay, so how will you execute that? Roles, policies, all these things we have to understand as a part of code build. Okay, so we will be creating a pipeline, CI/CD pipelines and all, to automate this entire process. Okay, and then we need to understand about code deploy. So what is continuous deploy or continuous delivery? Okay, what is CD? What are the other tools we have in open source? How code deploy is really useful for us in an AWS DevOps environment. Okay, how we can integrate that. All these things we can understand as a part of code deploy. And then the last one is code pipeline. Code commit, code build, code deploy, and then code pipeline. So code pipeline will integrate your code commit, code build, and code deploy. All these three things together, and it will create a CI/CD pipeline. So you need to understand what is CI/CD. You have individually learned what is CI and what is CD. It's a combination of both. Okay, so you have to understand what is CI/CD. We will create some projects, okay, some application, and then we will see how to deploy it with the CI/CD pipeline and all. First, we have to, anything which you are trying to automate it, right? First, you have to learn about how to do it manually. Then only you will understand how to do it from through automation tools. Okay, so that is so important for us to understand. First of all, you need to understand how to do it manually, and then you will try to learn how to automate that. Okay, so and then X-ray. X-ray is nothing but an open source tools actually for debugging, for finding out if there is an issue in your applications and all these things will be done by your X-ray. Okay, so these are the tools which we are going to understand, and these are the simple projects which I have created here, 6 projects actually, which will cover on all the scenarios. Okay, and we'll be taking another project as well, which will try to build a CI/CD pipeline to automate that. Okay, first we'll see it manually everything, and then we will see how to automate that using AWS DevOps pipelines. Okay, and yeah, that's all about. Okay, so this is the entire topics that we'll be discussing in this course. Okay, to be simplified, there are 6 topics which I have divided: Linux, shell scripting, AWS administrative services, Terraform, Jenkins, and then AWS DevOps. So these are the services categories which I've divided. So this is my contact. Like if you want to drop some email, you can contact there. If you want to see my other videos related to anything, any other technology, just you can watch my YouTube channel. And then for syllabus, you can go through this particular GitHub URL and find out the syllabus related to AWS DevOps. Okay. So these are the things which I'm going to explain in this entire course. Who are completely new to this particular technology, right? Don't worry about that. Everything I will show it from scratch. Okay, come with a blank page. Okay, so try to learn something, practice it. What are the task I gave? Try to complete it. And if we are not able to do it, I'll let you know how to do it. Okay, so we create a WhatsApp group. So in that WhatsApp group itself, you can ask the questions. So don't wait for the next day. When you're practicing it, when you have some questions, keep the issue in the WhatsApp group so that other people also will come to know when they are coming across that. Okay, so it is better that we will get so many people communication and then we integrate, we talk to so many people, right? So that's how it is. So WhatsApp group will be there, a common channel for us to interact with. You have any questions, doubts, or when you are practicing or whatever it is. Okay, so this will be taking a duration of 2 months, excluding Saturdays and Sundays, daily 1 hour. Timings and all, you can talk to the management. Timings, fees, and all the structure and all, you can talk to the management. Okay, anything technical issues, you can just talk to me right now. um,
Right.
like, yeah, before that, sorry, one note. Everybody please drop your email and contact number in the chat room so that my management will contact you on this particular course. Okay, please do that. If everybody has already done, thank you for that. But if people who has not done, please.
Hi, sir. I'm
Yes,
Rupesh.
you can come up with the questions. Yeah.
I graduated in 2019 in
Okay.
mechanical engineering. Now I am
Mechanical.
choose
Okay.
to now I am choose to this course. It's helpful to me or not. I
See,
don't have
forget
any idea
about
about this.
what BTech, what BTech. See, I done EC, but okay, it's somehow related. Yeah,
Yeah,
I've
okay.
seen so many people coming from different backgrounds. See, BTech doesn't matter for us, right? If you, to be frank, it doesn't matter for us actually. How you start learning and how you switch on your career, that is so important for us. I'm not convincing you, it's up to you. Just I'm giving the suggestion that don't bother about what is your BTech. Okay, you have to give a proper justification in the interview. Someone is asking you, okay, some people will ask a crazy questions, right? Not your technical person, or maybe a manager or some particular round is HR round is going on. They might ask you some question to understand why you have moved into this particular course, or sorry, this particular technology. Okay, so then you have to give some proper justification saying that okay, I'm from my BTech, I'm interested in this operating system. Though I'm learned mechanical due to some reasons, but still I'm interested more on this, what do you say, operating systems and all. From there I have started learning Linux operating system. Then I switched my career like this. That's how you can give a justification, right? Did he say like, no, you are mechanical, you I cannot recruit you? It's not like that.
Yeah, okay.
You have to give a proper justification saying that yes,
The co
I chosen this career for a proper reason. That's how.
this course will be started with starting for me, like Linux.
Yes, obviously. See, even if one person is there in my course, I'm talking about my course. Even if one person is there, I have to start from scratch. No, it's painful for other people who already know about this, but still you have to bear with me.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, sir. Uh,
How about resume preparation support?
Resume preparation support, it's not that tough here. I can do it. Okay, it's not that tough. Roles and
okay.
responsibilities. What is our role, responsibility? What is our daily task? The way we explain in, see, the first question always in the interview will be, what is your role and responsibilities? That's how we have to explain, right? So your resume has to talk more. So I will take care of it. No worries about it. Okay.
Okay,
I'll
thank
give
you.
you some bullet points which should be added into your roles and responsibilities. Okay.
Hello, sir.
My suggestion, yeah, just a second. My suggestion is don't try to straight away say that I'm worked on DevOps engineer. No, put your old project saying that you started working on AWS administration, and then say that I switched it to the internal another project in my internal company to a DevOps engineer. That's how you have to say that you are upgrading your what do you say skills. That's how you have to say. Okay.
Okay.
Go
Sir, I have
ahead.
a
How many years of experience can you claim based on this
2,
training?
3, enough. 2 to 3.
Sir, is it important to learn Python as well?
Python. See, if you want to really want to go to the programming, it doesn't mean that everybody has to run a program by. But as a DevOps engineer, we have to know how to run that program. That's it. It doesn't mean that you should write a program. Let's say there is a few like developer. From them, if I want to automate some DevOps pipeline, right? If I want to build some pipeline for that particular code or something, first of all, I need to understand how to run that particular code. Okay. Once I know it, I will come to know how to automate that. That is the only thing what we have to take. Okay. If you are really interested in programming, then you can switch. Yeah.
So are you going to cover Python as well, sir? For the
Python, I'm planning. I'm not. I want to take the feedback from the people, like how they want to. Then I will start. If it is required, I will start with Python as well. Yeah, programming. Because some people, if you know, right, you know the fact. Some people will get hesitated in learning the programming language. Okay.
Hello.
Yeah.
Excuse. Is it required to DevOps tools for this AWS cloud only? Is it possible to learn only AWS cloud services only? So not
Yes,
if
we are learning
I'm
only AWS.
I couldn't. Is it required DevOps tools also for this or not required?
See, not required. See, to be frank, that is not at all required. See, but still, I have added some tool called Jenkins. Only one. That is a tool which I've added. For Git and all, we are already using code commit, right? Which is similar.
But
It is
Terraforms
same.
is there, right? Terraforms is related to DevOps only,
Terraform
right?
is
I think.
yeah. See, Terraform is not a DevOps proper tool. Okay, it's infrastructure management tool. Okay, all the tools comes under DevOps if you are using it. To be frank, actually, all the tools comes under DevOps. But why Terraform I'm added into the project into this particular course is Terraform is the most important. Even for that, also we have so many openings. The person who is expertise in Terraform, we have so many openings. Why? Because that Terraform is common for all the cloud providers, for all the services. So you have to learn it. Okay.
Sudhir, I
I'll
have
not
one
include
question.
anything like Nagios and all other things, right? It is so precise.
Sudhir, I have one question.
Yeah.
So recently I came across different terms, SRE role and DevOps roles. Can you give me
And
brief idea
DevSecOps.
about
You might
these
have heard
two?
about DevSecOps also, I guess.
Yes, yes. DevSecOps, SRE role, and DevOps roles.
DevOps.
Yeah, DevOps.
So
And
do we
These are the
get
recently,
three
one
some
of
ops.
the
idea on
best
this?
tool is ML Ops.
Yeah, and then we have some. I see GitOps also. Have you heard about Git?
Yeah,
If you start digging into right, it will be like it. You'll get mad about it. Okay. So
correct.
forget about what it is. Role is nothing but let me tell you. SRE role is nothing but simple. He has to see the positives and negatives of that particular cluster. Let's say you are building some cluster, right? He, as a SRE engineer, he has to see the worst conditions. Let's say if it is a cluster, I have to bring down the node and see how the cluster is behaving. Okay, and then I need to see what are the I need to generate some load on the server and see how it is behaving. All this comes under SRE engineer, site reliability engineer. Site reliability engineer in the sense he has to see all the worst conditions and certify the site saying that it is working in all the worst conditions. So that's how it will go to the production. Okay, that is a role of SRE. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. DevOps engineer in the sense is trying to build the entire pipelines, all the things with the services, right? That's a responsibility of a DevOps engineer. He's writing the code, he's building the code, and he's testing the code, everything through the pipelines.
Yeah. Thank you, Sudhir. I got some idea now.
Yeah. Don't worry about too much about the roles, okay? I'll tell you about that. Yeah.
Hi, Sudhir.
Yes.
This is Sudhir
I
Kumar. Did you cover any configuration management tools like Ansible, Chef? Puppet,
Imagine,
likewise.
I will tell you one answer. Okay, 2 months. Do you remember? Do you think that this course will become? To be frank, okay, I'm
No,
not hiding anything. Okay, I will be straightforward. Okay, if I add so many tools here, I have to teach it only on 10% or 20% of each tool. Do you want that?
I'm not saying
No, right?
all the tools. Can you cover any one tool like Ansible and
See,
any
even Ansible,
monitoring
it's not a
tools?
small topic here. Remember, even Ansible is
Yes.
not a small topic. I have to teach
Yeah.
about Ansible variables, group vars, and I have to teach about modules, roles, playbooks, each and every module, customizing the module. It's not, see, whatever the tools I add, I have to teach it 100%. Okay. I cannot put it
Yeah.
like 50% and say that the course has been done and the topics have been covered. I cannot do that from my side. I don't know about others, but I cannot do it actually. So that's the reason which is so important. Only those contents have been added. Unnecessarily, I don't want to put some 15 to 25 topics and say that this is how the DevOps and this is the course. It never help you. To be frank, if you want, I will add it, but I have to customize the topics. That's it.
Okay, Sudhir.
Straightforward.
Thank
I
you.
don't want to hesitate. I will be straightforward, so transparent. That's how I teach. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
After this course, there was any placement? There will be a placement
Two
for us.
months. 2 months. It may or extend few days as well. I cannot. I see. I don't have any border saying that I have to complete in 2 months. That also it from my side actually. Okay. I'm putting a target like 2 months. If it is should be extended, I will extend 5 or 4 days like that. That's it.
After completing this
Okay.
course, there will be a choosing any placements for us.
That you can talk to the management here. I'm not the right person to talk about it.
Yeah, okay.
I'm just only a technical trainer. That's it.
Yeah, okay.
If someone interested in learning anything, just go to the YouTube channel. Okay, so you can just see other contents and try to understand how my way of teaching is and all. Okay, so you'll come to an idea. Okay,
What is that YouTube channel is?
you can see there, right? Channel name is like that. Sudhi DevOps.
Okay, okay,
Yeah,
right,
it
right.
is there.
Got it.
Yeah,
Thank
it is
It
there.
is YT in the sense YouTube. I thought everybody knows about it. So yeah,
YouTube.
yeah. Generally we put a shortcut, right? YT.
Yeah,
Sudhir, Amir here. Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Yeah, Sudhir, I am from testing background. Okay, so my company uses this private clouds and different pipelines. Right?
OpenStack,
Sorry.
OpenStack private cloud.
Yeah, see, they are using some Gaia cloud. I think. So I am some testing background. I'm not aware. Then nowadays, these
Oh,
people
okay,
speak of KCD integration or whatever it is.
okay,
So
okay.
after finishing this course, I can understand the terminology and topology involved in this my organization, right? So it's not like
Obviously. See,
okay.
I told you right. That's what I'm not teaching about only AWS services, right? I have to teach about basics. If someone wants to move their career, that's how you said like that, right? If you want to understand your environment and try to correlate and all, the basics which I tell is the most important. Forget about your AWS services. Basics are the
Okay.
most important to survive anywhere for longer period. Okay, it's not that I know only AWS. I know how to handle the service. I don't know anything else. That doesn't give you any what do you say confidence to you. If you know the
Okay.
basics, right, it is really helpful. Okay, that's what I say.
Okay. Got it. Got it. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. For every course, every topic, right, we have the documentation. Whenever I complete that particular topic, I will share the document. You can go through it. Whenever you have some questions while practicing, please come back to me on the WhatsApp group. Give the screenshots and let me know what is the error so that I can just give a solution there itself. If not, we will connect the next day or on the day itself and we'll try to resolve the issue. Don't wait for. And one more thing before joining the course, don't hesitate. Keep your shy and everything at your place. Don't hesitate because everybody doesn't know, right? Everybody is joining here to learn something. So don't think that what other person will think if I'm asking some silly questions. Don't hesitate like that. Whatever you have in your mind, just ask straightforward. I will not think anything. Okay, so just keep your question as it is. Okay, don't think about others. Try to think about yourself and try to learn the course. That's it. That's what a suggestion from my end.
Sir,
So this
I have a question.
for the practicing, right? For the practice, only
Yeah,
we'll get
yeah.
the access till the course period, or we can practice later also.
No, it's for 1 year actually. 1 year.
Okay.
The videos you're talking about or the AWS?
AWS access.
See, AWS account, I will tell you how to create it. It's on. We cannot create for everyone actually. It's too costly, right? But everyone can create their own AWS account for free of cost for 1 year. Okay, I'll tell
Okay.
you how to handle it. How to
Yeah.
handle it without adding any billing to it. Okay, don't worry. Like 50,000, 30,000 billing will be generated for every month. No, it's not like that. Okay,
Okay.
maybe 100 rupees, 200 rupees per month. That could be
Okay.
okay, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. That's the only problem with the cloud. Okay, if it is open source, right, I could have shown everything in the structure like in my local system and all. The problem with only the cloud is we have to pay for it for what we are using. If you are doing within 1 hour, right, you can just delete it and no billing will be generated almost. There are some tricks, let's follow that and let's try to utilize the open source one. Any other questions, guys? See, don't hesitate. Please ask the questions. Okay, whatever you have in your mind. Okay, don't think about others. Think as if like one to one. Okay, because he doesn't know
Hi,
your
Sudhir.
face, right?
Hello.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes. Basically, we have different backgrounds and have a lot of
yeah,
experience. Just someone
yeah.
passed in 2015, 16 means a lot of experience in different industries and
Yes,
different roles like that. Someone is development, someone is testing. But whenever
true.
we switched in DevOps, how
Yeah.
this team is treated as a fresher or experienced?
See, this is from scratch. Do you think that it is from somewhere? No, right? I'm just starting from Linux operating system. So it's like pure fresher. Okay, it's completely the person who is coming from a non-IT background. Let's say from mechanical engineer or electrical engineer or some particular engineer is starting the course. That's how it starts with. Okay, it doesn't
Yes,
know
but
about
whenever
anything about cloud.
but whenever we are going for the interviews and the some employer will
Yeah.
had all these guys, and then how the
Okay.
employer will treat us as a fresher or as a
See, it's
experienced.
all about you, right? How you put in your resume. See, straightforward. Do you put some fake experience like 2 years and go on to your interviews and all? 2 years experience, they'll ask the questions as per 2 years only. You don't expect much, right? The
Okay.
test course is designed for a person who wants to put their resume with 5 years of experience. Okay, that's how the course was designed. It's up to you, like how much years of experience you place in this particular technology, AWS I'm talking about. Okay,
Hello.
I hear some background noise. I'm not able to get you. You're
Okay.
speaking
Thank you.
anything?
Hello, sir. Hello.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, hello, sir. This is Gokul, sir. I had done MSc Agriculture. It
Okay.
is entirely different for my background. So I'm suitable for this task. Even I didn't run the
Okay.
so
So
I
when you
from
okay, I'm not able to hear you actually. I don't know. You're saying some MCA or something. You did MCA,
MSc Agriculture.
MSc Agriculture.
Yeah, MSc Agriculture.
Okay, it's quite different actually. Hmm.
Yeah,
This is the first time
so
which I'm hearing like from MSc Agriculture to DevOps. Okay. Okay.
yes, sir.
So
So I need to
yeah, yeah.
there are lots of opportunities in agriculture.
See, okay. I don't know in this, but when you passed out MSc Agriculture,
2021 last year.
21 recent, right? Okay, so
Yeah.
I have to think about it. I never seen this one actually. Hmm. Okay.
But if I keep on effort on this, I will be able to sustain on this.
See, if you are lucky enough and if person is not talk, I told you right, like other people, right, like MCA background or some other backgrounds and all. If you have recently completed 2 years, 3 years and all, you have to give some justification why you have moved into this career. That's it. It's not that you
Okay.
whether you see technical interview is something where irrespective with your background, they will do the technical round. Okay, asking about these questions, roles and responsibilities and all. But why you switch from agriculture background, MSc agriculture to this? That will be a crazy question which some people will ask, not everyone. That to a manager or
Yeah.
someone who will ask. Okay, so if you are okay to handle that, then it's fine. Fine for everyone actually. It's not about that you should not do, right? Everybody can do anything, right?
Yes, sir.
If you are okay
No,
with
sir.
it, then
What I
you can
want to
continue with it. It's not about your agriculture background, okay, but you have to give some justification, right? But don't
yeah,
worry too much about it.
not I'm asking that. If I join in the training, I will be able to learn or not.
See, that's what I told. You can learn. That I can promise you. Okay. It is for freshers. Fresher in the sense for everyone. Fresher, experienced person. Experienced person will have some one step forward. Then freshers. You have to jump
Okay.
by learning, putting some more effort. That's it. That's the only thing what you have to do. Let's say a person who has some already has some experience on that, he will practice it for 1 hour. You have to practice it for 1.5 hours or 2 hours. It all depends upon your practice and your effort. The training will be from scratch. It's not that it will start from somewhere. Then why should I have teach that Linux and all, right? I could have done something. I could have directly started with AWS administrative services and then DevOps. Okay, that will save a lot of time. But I have to teach about Linux, shell scripting, and then I have to teach about AWS administration, Terraform, then this and Jenkins, and then AWS DevOps. It's for everything,
Okay.
and that is from scratch. It's not that I have to start from somewhere.
Yeah, hello, Sudhir. What are
Yeah.
the services you are going to cover in AWS Cloud?
Sorry, come again. There is some background noise.
On AWS, what are the services are you covering in AWS Cloud?
I gave the list, right? Hope you are able to see it.
Uh,
Can you see this screenshot?
oh, okay. These are the services are you covering? Okay, going to cover.
Yes,
Okay,
and
AWS
that too, these
console.
are high level actually. In that you will have some subtopics, right, which are not mentioned here.
Is it enough for this to break the internet and all everything on
More
AWS
than
Cloud?
enough. More than enough.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, Sudhir, after this course, like, can we apply for AWS admin as well?
Yeah, admin. You can apply for admin. If you want to only have some openings on Terraform, you can apply for that. Only openings on Docker and Kubernetes, you can apply for that. AWS, Docker and Kubernetes, and you can also apply for DevOps as usual. Four
Okay, do we
types.
have this Docker and Kubernetes in this course?
Yes, you can see there, right? Docker
Okay.
and containers and orchestration like ECS and EKS. As I told you in the
Okay.
demo, right? First, you have to understand about Docker containers and Kubernetes.
Okay.
Then only you will
Okay.
understand what is ECS and EKS, right?
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Hello.
Yes. Hi.
Hi, Sudhir. I'm Kishore from Tirupati. Actually, I have one doubt and one suggestion for you. So for you
Yeah.
from you. Actually, my background
Okay.
is basic computer science.
Okay.
After that, I have some different experience, and now past 5 years I am working on BPO,
Okay.
some different production
Mix.
side.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So now I have to switch on to IT field. Actually, I am
Okay.
thinking two things. One is testing side, and one other is developing and developing side, programming side. Can you suggest me which is the better from for you for me?
Are you interested more on like programming?
Yeah, I am interesting.
Then you can switch to the programming, right? As a DevOps engineer, something like that. Why for testing? Testing doesn't have any growth. That's what I say.
Okay. My gap
If you
is
want
more.
to
I
run
think.
for a longer period, see, according to your experience, what you have, the amount of what is years I want to spend in IT industry, right? Based on that, if you calculate, testing doesn't give you some more experience and more what exposure. So better you switch your career to the DevOps, nothing else. Okay.
Actually, my basic computer science passed out is 2006. After that, I have some different field experience. So
Okay. But
after that, last
yeah,
five
but no
years
one will see
experience.
your experience, like what you have done inside it, right? What you
Okay,
put on a
okay,
resume, your company's, your pay slips are fine, But what you have done inside that particular company, no one will watch you until what you write in your resume. That's it, right?
Yes, exactly.
You can modify according to that, saying that initially I started as a Linux administrator for 1 year. After that, I switched my career to AWS administrator. Then I switched it to AWS DevOps. That's how you can manage. 3 years will be covered, right?
Yes.
Good morning, sir.
Hope I answered you.
Hello, good morning,
Thank you.
sir.
Yeah, hi.
Hello.
Your
Can you
voice
hear
is
me?
from far away from your mic. Can you put on bit?
Sir, can you hear me?
Yes. Yeah.
Myself, Anil Kumar, sir. I want to know the difference between that mainframes and the DevOps.
I
What is
am not
mainframe, sir?
expertise in mainframes.
Okay.
I don't have any exposure. See, mainframes is completely different. It's for banking sectors, and that too, it has some security. It's a different course actually. It's nowhere related to your DevOps. Okay.
Sir, my past experience is different. I'm not from a IT.
Okay. IT, not
I
IT in the
worked in
sense
an
what?
organization. I worked in an organization as a professor, assistant professor in Anurag
Okay.
University for 15 years of teaching. I have
Okay.
15 years of teaching experience, but now I want
15
to
years.
divert my
Okay.
I want to now settle in a IT opportunity, so IT industry.
Okay. So
that is
put
my
it in
experience.
this
I
way.
want to
Okay,
seek
you
your
cannot put
suggestion.
your fake experience or something, right? You have to put your genuine experience because you have some 15 years experience over there, right? So
Teaching
try to put
experience,
something
right,
where.
sir?
So try to put something
Hello?
like 10 years of your teaching field, and try to put your
Okay.
5 years of in the teaching field as a system administrator in the that particular what do you say university or somewhere. And after that, say
Okay, sir.
that I
I'm
have
from
interested and
mathematics.
moved into. Sorry.
My subject is mathematics, sir.
That's okay. They will not ask you, right?
Okay.
They don't ask you, right? What you have done in
Okay.
that
Another 5
particular
years.
organization. Yeah, five
Okay,
years
sir.
you can add it as a system administrator, Linux system administrator in your organization, and then say that
Okay.
because of my special interest, I moved into IT industry. That's
Okay,
how.
sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your valuable suggestion.
Yeah. And
Hi,
like,
Sudhir, sir.
okay.
Hi.
Can I continue?
Yes, you can.
Yes. Sudhir, sir, is DevOps field, is this something we have to update continuously? I mean, if we go into the development side, there is no need to update. You just have to program, right? But in this DevOps
No.
field, do we have to continually update, or is this a permanent field?
See, I don't think so. In the development, it is a fixed, right? You will get new modules, new coding styles. For every version upgrade, you have to change your programming structure, right? Let's say, for example, your Python 2.7, 3.x has changed a lot. You cannot use the same program what you have compiled in 2.7. You cannot use in 3.x. So it's never-ending process in development. At least in
Okay.
operation side, we have some structure which you can follow it for 2 to 3 years. But whereas in
Okay.
development, you can't fixed with that same programming style. You have to change it.
Okay.
The reverse of it, actually, what you said.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, fine.
So yeah, so how much amount of programming is required in day-to-day activities for DevOps?
Programming, it all depends how you involve actually. As for I cannot say that you will involve this much and all. It all depends upon the team which you're working and the contribution which you're doing from your side.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah,
Maybe
even if we are in
20%.
DevOps,
If you're
even
not
if
a
we are in
pure programming developer, right? 20% effort is enough.
okay. Even for DevOps admin or DevOps engineer, like programming is mandatory or
Not mandatory. It's all depends upon the environment which you are working, right? Say programming, yes. At least we have to know what is that program, how to write some basics, and how to compile it and how to execute it. That at least we have to adopt or we have to learn. Okay. Let's say you have some Python program you have written. Okay.
okay.
We have to check the styling. We have to check the program functionality, what you have written, errors and all, right? That is mandatory. Yeah.
Okay. So programming knowledge is required for this also.
Yes, obviously. And like, in the sense, it's not about writing the program okay, continuously. It's about all about how to write, how to compile it, and all.
Okay. developers will be writing the code and we'll be compiling and like we'll be
Yeah, we
placing
will
some.
be learning how to compile it and then we automate it.
Okay, we do not do any changes into the code.
No, sorry for the background. Okay.
Yeah. So we don't do any changes to the code, right?
We don't see it all. It depends. If you are a developer, right, you will be involving in that as well. That's how it is, right? I'll give you the answer. Okay, just give me 1 minute.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Chaitanya, to answer you, right? Let's say you are working for a team, right? If you
Yes.
are involved, if you are interested, they will involve you to the development as well, right?
Okay.
Or else you will be concentrating more on writing the pipelines and executing it. So you have to sit with the developer and say that how will you execute a program after writing it? That executions you have to put it in the CI/CD pipeline. That's how we have to do.
Okay. We will take the code and put in the pipeline.
That's how. Yeah. Obviously, the code will be stored in some GitHub repository or some other repository like code commit, and you have to know how to automate from there. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So actually, I'm from
Always a
SAP
developer cannot
background.
say
Like,
that I've tested it locally and it's working fine, right? There has to be some
yeah.
centralized location where it has to be tested. That you have to build.
Okay. Yeah, I'm from SAP background actually, admin side. So what's your take on like moving into DevOps basically?
Programming, don't concentrate more on programming right now. So try to adopt and understand the skills of this. Then you can move. If you are really interested, then you can go for programming. Okay.
Okay.
See, that would be another path again. Okay.
Yeah.
Programming is continuous process, right? You have to understand so many modules, how to write a functions for that, classes, structure, testing it,
Basically,
okay, writing
I'm not
unit testing
much.
for it.
I'm not much into programming, and I don't want to get into programming again. That's why.
Yeah. Then that's how it is. See, when you are working on some particular team, right, a project will be divided into teams, and in that team who are interested in programming, they will assign the project to that. See, assign that particular task to that member, and you will be concentrating more on building the pipelines and all, right? Everybody cannot do both.
Yeah.
That's all, guys. Thank you. Thanks for your time, and let's meet on next session. Like whenever we have, you can talk to the management when the session will be started and all. It will be on morning time only, but I'm not sure what is the time slots and all. They might be contacting you guys to get the proper time slot in the morning. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you all.